Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, today we're going to completely shatter the ultimate social illusion. Because, for generations, we've basically been sold this massive lie. The idea that charisma is just this innate magical gift you're simply born with. The whole you either have the it factor or you don't mentality. Well, honestly, prepare to have your entire perspective shifted today. We're going to dive right into the hard science of personal magnetism, and we're going to prove that you actually have incredible control over exactly how other people perceive you. To really wrap our heads around this, let's jump straight into a seriously fascinating story from the summer of 1955. Picture this. Marilyn Monroe wanted to prove a point. She was walking through a jam-packed Grand Central Terminal in New York City with a magazine editor and a photographer, right in the middle of a super busy workday. And guess what? Not a single person noticed her. No way, right? But it's true. She rode this subway completely unbothered, just by purposefully projecting the subdued, closed-off body language of plain old Norma Jean. But the second she resurfaced onto those busy New York sidewalks, she turned to her photographer, teased, "Do you want to see her?" And boom, no grand gestures, she literally just flipped an internal switch, fluffed her hair, struck a pose, and instantly became the magnetic Marilyn. People suddenly recognized her, she was mobbed by fans in seconds, and it just perfectly proves this stunning point. Charisma is a conscious behavioral choice. So let's dive into Olivia Cabane's acclaimed research. She totally reverse engineers this whole charisma thing into a set of learnable, highly measurable behaviors. And look, whether you're trying to lead a global tech team, win over tough investors, or maybe you're a creator trying to make top-tier educational YouTube videos and book summaries, you absolutely need to know how to captivate an audience. Through a boardroom table or a camera lens, the behaviors we're about to cover are universally applicable. Charisma is an applied science, guys. You do not need to be born with it to master the whole shebang. All right, so what is the actual secret sauce? Let's look at the core framework behind why we find certain people just so completely captivating. Whenever we meet someone, our brains instinctively try to figure out two main things. Could this person move mountains for me, and would they actually care to do so? To project real charisma, you have to hit three exact notes perfectly. Let's break down the very first pillar. Pillar number one is presence. You know that feeling when you're talking to someone and you can just tell they're only half listening? Their eyes sort of glaze over? Well, if your mind wanders during a conversation, you literally cannot fake it. The human mind can read facial expressions in just 17 milliseconds. That is a fraction of a blink. That means any split-second delay, even when you're looking right into a camera lens to record an educational video, betrays you. It makes the viewer feel brushed off. But when you are fully present, people feel like they are the single most important thing in the world to you right at that moment. It's the absolute foundation of all charisma. Moving on to the second pillar, which is power. Now, back in the jungle days of our ancestors, power pretty much just meant brute physical strength. But today, it's so much more than that. It's evaluated through clues like your confidence, your specific expertise, your intelligence, your social status, and, most importantly, your body language. When you project power, people instinctively feel that you actually have the capacity to affect the world around you.
And the final pillar is warmth. Warmth is basically the friend or foe question answered. It is an entirely behavioral signal telling people we're friendly, altruistic, and willing to use whatever power we have in their favor. Think about it. Just like our ancestors were hardwired to crave fat and sugar to survive, we are hardwired to be drawn to people who combine high power with high warmth. It is an incredibly rare, precious combination that signals right to our primal brains. Hey, this person can help me, and they actually want to help me.
Now, here is where it gets really, really interesting. The secret to projecting these three pillars: you can't just fake the body language of power and warmth. Get this. The MIT Media Lab actually found they could predict the outcome of negotiations with 87% accuracy just by analyzing body language. 87%! And they ignored the actual words entirely. So to get your body language right, you have to master your internal state first. Why? Because your mind honestly cannot distinguish fact from fiction. If you read a scary book, your heart races even though you're perfectly safe in bed, right? So if you create a charismatic internal mental state, say by visualizing success or feeling genuine goodwill, your body language will authentically manifest it. Your microexpressions will naturally align right up with your intentions. So, how do we actually put this into practice? You can instantly boost your presence using this incredibly simple, quick win. Next time you're in a meeting and you feel your mind drifting off to, I don't know, your grocery list, don't panic. First, just notice the wandering. Second, Focus intensely on the physical sensations in your toes. I know, it sounds totally bizarre, but focusing on your toes literally forces your brain to sweep its attention entirely through your physical body, and it snaps you right back into the present moment. Then, just return your full attention to the conversation. Honestly, it works like magic. Beyond just the inner game, you can apply these immediate behavioral tweaks right now to project way more power. First, lower the intonation of your voice at the end of your sentences. Think about how a judge delivers a verdict versus how a teenager asks a question. Dropping that intonation projects massive authority. Second, reduce how quickly and how often you nod. Fast nodding just signals an eagerness to please, but slow, deliberate nodding, that signals contained power. Finally, pause for 2 full seconds before you speak. It shows you're totally comfortable with silence, making you appear immensely grounded and confident. Now, you might be listening to all this and wondering, wait, does a naturally quiet introvert have to fake being the loudest, most boisterous extrovert in the room to make this work? The answer is a resounding no. Please don't do that. Trying to force yourself into a personality that just isn't yours makes you look awkward and super inauthentic. Instead, charisma is really about choosing the exact right style for your own natural disposition. The really good news here is that there are entirely different styles of charisma you can adopt based on your natural strengths. On one hand, you've got visionary charisma. Think Steve Jobs. He wasn't exactly known for his warm fuzzies, right? He was actually feared by many, but he projected such immense power and absolute conviction in his vision that he inspired fanatical belief. On the flip side, you have kindness charisma, like the Dalai Lama. He projects deep warmth, total acceptance, and goodwill. When you're with someone like that, you feel completely, unconditionally accepted. You can absolutely adopt the intense zeal of a tech CEO or the absolute warmth of a spiritual leader, depending entirely on the situation and what your goals are. Okay, as amazing as this all sounds, we definitely need to address the catch here, because there is a dark side to all this. Mastering charisma makes you a massive magnet for praise and success, sure, but it can also attract some fierce envy and resentment from colleagues. Plus, because you're making people feel so incredibly comfortable and seen, total strangers might suddenly start oversharing deeply personal secrets with you, leaving you to manage all their emotional fallout. And finally, there's the dreaded showtime burnout. When people see you as this highly charismatic superstar, they hold you to a much, much higher standard, which creates immense pressure for you to just constantly overperform. Ultimately, you've got to think of charisma as an accelerant for your influence. The author actually compares it to a knife. A knife isn't inherently good or inherently evil, right? In the hands of a skilled surgeon, it can literally save a life. But in the hands of a criminal, it can take one. Charisma is simply a tool. It can be used to heal and inspire or to manipulate and hurt, depending entirely on the character of the person wielding it. So I want to leave you with this final thought to really reflect upon. You know the science now. You understand presence, power, and warmth. You've got the toe trick, the vocal drops, and you know the different styles you can embody. So the next time you walk into a high-stakes meeting, or hey, maybe when you sit down to record your next video book summary, how are you going to deploy this incredible power tool to impact the people around you? The switch is now entirely in your hands.